with Diamond Dinosaur. Grab your kit, let's craft and score. Big dog barks and football plays. Diamond Dinosaur.
Hey guys, it's Mary Lee, the Diamond Dinosaur 33, coming at you from my craft room. Figured I am off the rest of the day. I had a dentist appointment, and I figured I will do a little bit of a whip. I have some things to talk about, plus a new ghost story, a little bit of football news, and I'm going to talk a little bit about my dino date from last Friday with my hubby. So yeah, let's go ahead and jump into it. Again, if you're new to my channel, thank you for stopping by. If you are returning, I love and appreciate you so much for sticking with me. My channel is relatively small. Trying to grow it, but I'm just here for the vibe, period. So what I'm working on today is I am working on a Diamond Art Club canvas called Dinosaur Battle, of course, why wouldn't I be? And I am just about here, right around here, right not far from the Triceratops' mouth and right before the T-Rex. So I will probably be stopping after this square because I want to move on to something else because this canvas is so large. So that being said, the tools that I'm working with today, I am using glue dots in my single placer. In my multi-placer, I'm using Randa's Crafty Corner Cinnamon Sugared Pretzel Scented Putty. My straightener, I am using my Zodiac Shadows straightener. My tray is actually from Yellow Dog Designs. It's older tray. They are no longer in business. Now they're done by Ditsy's Diamond Dad, and I think she just calls them Dog Designs, but this was one of the original Yellow Dog Designs, which is one of my favorite types of trays. My go-to trays were probably Bijou Bliss and then the Yellow Dog Designs. So I have that, and my trinket tray is my new Pup in a Tub from Sparkling Nana. Along with my trinket tray, I also have the little trash pot that goes with it, the little rubber ducky, and then the puppy in the bottom of the trash bucket. So I'm gonna put this over here, put my trinket tray up there, put my stuff on it, and hop right on in, get some drills, and let's have a chitty chat. Oh, my pen is from Swampwood. It's one of my gator blocks, my Kelly green and silver gator blocks. I have to represent the Philadelphia Eagles because you all know that they are my team. Go Birds. So I'm going to talk about first. First of all, I want to wish everybody a happy 4th of July, and I hope everyone stays safe. Do not play with fireworks, and if you have to, make sure you throw them once you light them, or move away once you light them. We don't need anybody losing fingers and toes. And this is a very big birthday for this country. It is the 250th, and I live right on the outskirts of the city of brotherly love, so which is I'm sure it's going to be huge in the city, because, you know, that's where the Declaration of Independence was signed and all that goody stuff, and Betsy Ross house. So I'm sure it's going to be amazingly packed. So I will definitely be staying off the roads and not going anywhere near the city of Philadelphia over the weekend. Is it hot where you guys are? I'm sure that it is. I know for me, I think it's almost like feels like it's 100 and some degrees outside. I don't know. This is ridiculous weather, and I'm kind of over it already. I am more of a winter person because I am of the adage that in the summertime, if you get too hot, you can never get cool. But in the winter, you can always get warm. But I don't have central air. So I have window airs, but not central air. So, okay. So get into my little dino date from last Friday. I did not even know. I had heard of this museum. It's only been there for a little over a year, so it's relatively new. So they did what they call Jurassic June. So I did not know this, but the first week in June, the first Friday in June, they showed Jurassic Park. And then the second one was The Lost World, Jurassic Park 2. And then the third one was the one my husband and I went to, and that was Jurassic Park 3. I was not a big fan of the second Jurassic Park. It was okay. I just wasn't a fan. If I had to watch one, if I had to pick one of those two, it definitely would have been Jurassic Park 3. I have a whole ranking too, and I'll talk about that when I'm done the movie. But it was a nice evening. It wasn't too hot. This museum is not very big. It's relatively small, but it's all fossils and dinos. They have a large pond off to the one side, and I did learn that is where they found a Mosasaurus skull in that pond as they were digging. So we have our very own New Jersey Mosasaurus fossil. And then on the other side of the building, they have what's called the quarry, where you can go and just dig. You could dig all day if you wanted to and find different fossils and teeth and things like that. But it is outside. It is very dirty. They recommend, you stay hydrated, and then if you were going to do the movie, or if you're going to do the quarry, you need to make sure you bring a change of clothes, because they may not let you back into the museum to look around at the other fossils because you're dirty and the dirt on your shoes. So I would love to do that. I just don't know if I don't know. I just don't know if I want to take all that change of clothes and stuff like that. Maybe if I was just going to do the quarry and do the quarry dig, then maybe that would be different. But other than that, it was a nice time. They have a little cafe that they had little dino treats and hot dogs. And I think my husband had a slice of pizza and I had a hot dog, and they had trivia. They said they were going to have dancing dinos walking around, and they literally had one dino, so that was kind of a disappointment, and she really wasn't very good at being a dino. But the kids loved her, so who am I to judge? The movie was typical Jurassic Park movie. It was nice to see the Spinosaurus, because you never get to see that one. However, I do think when you look at that movie, that's a little cheesy, the way they did the the animatronics in Jurassic Park 3 were not as good as the animatronics in the first Jurassic Park. Now, I actually love Jurassic Park. I think it's great. The book was actually a horror movie, a horror book, a horror novel, I should say. So I like how they have been trying to take it back to becoming more horrific with the new version of Jurassic World Rebirth. I like the new Jurassic World series, the Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom, and then Jurassic World Dominion. I like that. I like how they gave a little bit more characteristics to the Velociraptors and Rexy. I also like the fact that they're computer generated, drawn by computer, whatever, AI, however you want to call it, because it made them look much more realistic. Now, were the Velociraptors like Blue and Delta and Charlie and Echo from the first one? Were they true to size? No. Probably the true to size Velociraptor was probably in Dominion, which would have been Beta, Blue's baby. So that's probably the size. The size of the Velociraptors were pretty much the size of a large dog, right? They really weren't this, huge creature like you see in the movies. To be honest, though, the movies, it didn't make the movies bad. I thoroughly enjoyed the movies immensely. I still watch them. I love them. I mean, obviously, my name is Diamond Dinosaur 33. I have to like the Jurassic Park and Jurassic World movies. It's kind of mandatory. There was a family there, and the dad, he complimented me on my sneakers. I have two different pairs of Jurassic Park sneakers. The first pair are low sneakers. They're just slip-on. They're both, I believe they're Reebok. And the first pair is a replica. It's supposed to be the replica of the Jeep that they were riding in the first movie. And then the second pair are high top, and they are representative of the Dilophosaurus pen. And the Dilophosaurus dinosaur. So they're very fun. I love both of those sneakers. And he was complimenting me on the sneakers. And then his little girl proceeded to tell me that her favorite dinosaur was Blue. And I just so happened to have Blue the dinosaur on my arm, and she just wanted to pet Blue the dinosaur. So how can you say no when she asked nicely? And you know, normally I'm not a person that likes to be touched by anyone, especially children. But here we are. It was a really nice time. We got popcorn. I bought a new dinosaur book, which I am going to be incorporating it into my channel. So yeah, that's exciting. So once I do that, I mean, I'm probably going to post something today, with the book. So if you guys, when I post it, if you want to just give me a comment, let me know how you like it. That would be great. So yeah. Y'all. So a little bit of a long weekend for me. I'm off half a day today. I'm off tomorrow. I don't go back to work till Monday. And then I'm off for the couple days for the weekend that I'm working the following weekend. And then I have a regular week of work. And then it's time for the retreat. The RVA Sizzling Summer Retreat. I'm so excited. It is my first time going. It's the first time I'm going to be meeting my Zoom friends in person. So I'm very, very excited about that. So I think it's going to be a blast. It's going to be a great time. So I'm going to put down this color. Well, let me just keep talking. Oh, let me give you the other information. Let's talk a little football real quick. And it's not Eagles football. We're going to talk some Lions football. Go Lions, right? I do like the Detroit Lions. One of my favorite players is on the Detroit Lions, and that player would be Amon-Ra St. Brown. Yes, you heard me correctly. His name is Amon-Ra. And I just think that's just power, right? That's just power. That is a powerful name right there. Bro was walking around with that name. Yeah, it be like that. So, what I'm going to talk about with football today is one of my favorite draft picks from, I guess this year would be the fourth year. I was looking at and hoping the Eagles could, if the Eagles were not able to draft Quinyon Mitchell, which they did, he was my first pick, and my second pick was Cooper DeJean, and we got both of those cornerbacks. My next pick was going to be, one of my next picks was cornerback Terrion Arnold, and he was picked for the Detroit Lions. Now, Terrion Arnold was just arrested, I guess last week. Yeah, June 24th. He was arrested, and he faces 8 felony charges. And those charges include multiple counts of armed robbery and kidnapping. And following his arrest, the Detroit Lions released him. So he was released 5 days later on June 29th. So I was trying to figure out what exactly his charges were, right? So these were his charges. Tyrion Arnold was arrested on 8 felony charges, including 4 counts of kidnapping and 4 counts of armed robbery. Prosecutors allegedly, alleged that he coordinated an attack in February of 2026 where his associates kidnapped, beat, and pistol whipped 3 men at gunpoint in retaliation for a theft at his Airbnb. So the way it read to me at first, I'm like, wait a minute, were you guys all in this Airbnb chilling, having a good time, and you stepped away and these guys stole shit from you in that Airbnb when you were staying at it? Or is this something that you own? Okay. So details have come out a little bit more now. So the key details of this case is, so the incident is this. Arnold allegedly believed that the victims stole $200,000 to $250,000 in personal property from his rental home. Police are stating that the attackers held the victims for nearly 1 hour. They streamed the assault to Arnold while he was in a group chat giving directions. So yeah, guys, that's pretty messed up. This is a young guy who had his whole entire life ahead of him. It is not like the Detroit Lions are a losing team. I mean, they ain't the Eagles and they ain't the Chiefs, but damn. Really, bro? So his legal proceedings are listed as they did an investigation and then Arnold surrendered to authorities in Tampa. He was granted a $1 million bond with strict house arrest conditions and he was subsequently then released from custody. If he is convicted of the felony charges, they carry a potential sentence of life in prison. This dude had, man, he's a good player. He was a really good player for the Lions. But now he's looking at possibly life in prison. And, man, there's no going back from that. There's no going back from that. Well, you know what? I shouldn't say that. But, I mean, yes, when you come out of prison, you can be reformed. You can be rehabbed, reformed, whatever you want to call it. Michael Vick went to prison. We all know what he went to prison for. I know there's a lot of people in this world that do not like Michael Vick. I love Michael Vick. I am that person that I can, in most cases, separate the crime from the person to an extent. So I liked Michael Vick when he was drafted out of college and went right to play for Atlanta. He was one of my favorite quarterbacks at that time. And then when he got charged and everything and put in prison, you know, I kind of felt a certain type of way. You know, I can't believe you did that to dogs, blah, blah, blah. Because, you know, I love dogs. I'm a dog lover. So when he got out of prison and he was released, I remember my mom and I sitting down and talking about it. And my mom, she said, hey, you know, where do you think he's going to end up playing? Do you think he'll get back in the NFL? I said, yes, he will get back in the NFL. He's probably going to end up in Philadelphia because Philadelphia would give him a second chance. Philadelphia gives no shits whether you're in jail or not. They don't care. They will give you a second chance. They're not big on any kind of domestic violence, but Michael Vick, he committed the crime, he did his time, and now here he is. And I can tell you this, he had a very successful career in Philadelphia. I've met him, which was awesome for me because I love Michael Vick. I have his jersey, blah, blah, blah. As an Eagles fan, you know. That being said, he does a lot of volunteer work for dog rescues, and he donates a lot of money to dog rescues for dogs as part of his life now. So I think that's awesome. I don't think Tyrion Arnold's going to have that I don't think he's going to have that chance. I don't know if he's going to get out. I really don't. I mean, these are some serious charges, serious allegations. Let me see if I can get some more. So his current, okay, so here's the counts. His specific charges include armed robbery, 3 counts, 3 counts of kidnapping, 1 count of conspiracy to commit kidnapping, and 1 count of conspiracy to commit armed robbery. His current status: on June 29th, a Florida judge set his bond at $1 million, with the conditions being he must remain under home confinement in Tallahassee, he has to surrender his passport, and he must avoid contact with his 6 co-defendants. If he is convicted, he faces a maximum penalty of life in prison. His representatives have categorically denied any involvement in the alleged crime, stating there is no credible evidence linking him to the incident and that the state is relying on testimony from co-defendants who have already pleaded guilty. His former coach at Alabama, because Tirion Arnold went to college at Alabama and his coach was Nick Saban. Nick Saban has submitted a letter of support to the court during the bond hearing. I don't know what that's, I don't know how this is going to play out, but I think it's going to be interesting. It's just very, very sad. It's very, very sad to see this happen to such a talent. I'm looking at pictures here, and you can see him smiling, signing things for fans. But then you see him smiling while he's in the courtroom in his red jumpsuit, and smiling when he's talking to his attorneys with a big smile on his face. So I'll keep you guys updated as things play out. I just felt it was, it's just, what are we doing? What are we doing? Like, you were given the opportunity, a gift. You're talented. You were given a gift to make a better life for you and your family, and you just chose to blow that up right in everybody's face. Again, allegedly. So I guess we will see what happens. And honestly, if they say that, they're just going by the testimony of his co-defendants, whatever. Okay, dude, you know the kind of people you're hanging around with. So what are we doing? What are we doing? I don't know. It just makes me sad because I like Tirion Arnold a lot. I think he's a really good player. And again, I'm trying not. His capability to play football has nothing to do with his charges. But at this moment, yeah, we're just going to leave it at that because I don't even know what else to say. I mean, yeah. We're just going to go on to the next topic, I guess. But the Eagles home opener is in 73 days, I believe. So I think I mentioned before, I have tickets to that game. I also have tickets to one of the preseason games. However, I'm undecided if I'm going to go to the practice. And this is why I'm undecided. The Eagles, a lot of teams have open practice where you can go and watch the team practice. Prior to the Eagles practice facility being the Jefferson Health Complex, whatever you want to call it this week, they were, I believe they practiced, I think in Lehigh Valley, and you were able to go to those practices for free and sit outside and watch them practice. But since they moved it here, and it's been here for a very, very long time, you do not have open practices like that. You have one chance to go to an open practice, and they charge you $10 for the ticket. I don't think they charge you for parking though, but the ticket is $10, and every single ticket that is purchased, that $10 gets donated to the Autism Foundation that the Philadelphia Eagles run. Jeffrey Lurie is very, very big on autism research. He has a little brother, a younger brother, who has autism. So the Eagles donate a lot of money to autism research. They have, their foundation is the Philadelphia Eagles Autism, I think it's just the Autism, oh my God, what is it called? Foundation, I think that's the word I'm looking for. I know Kylie Kelsey has a lot to do with it. Let me see. Let me do it this way. Autism Eagles. The Eagles Autism Foundation is what it's called. And I can probably link that in my thing. I'm not sure though. I think I can. You can donate. They have a specific website for it. Donate 2025 Impact. They put out the impact report. Every game there's a 50-50 raffle, and I mean these 50-50 raffles, sometimes if you win you get like $150,000. The other 150 goes to the Eagles Autism Foundation. But for the open challenge or the open practice, every ticket sold, that money goes to the Eagles Autism Foundation. And last year, not even gonna lie, there were over 10,000 people at the stadium for the open practice. It is in August. It is hot as F in there. It can get very uncomfortable. So I'm just undecided on if I want to go or not. Tickets went up $5, so now they're 15 something. But I just don't know. I remember the past couple of years just being uncomfortable and everything. And, you know, it's usually a time when Eagles fans bring their kids and their family, their wives, their husbands, whatever, and their kids, because it's cheaper. And the kids get to see Eagles football. They get to see the players. And that's how they get to interact. Because the $10, $15 tickets is a lot cheaper than, like, for me, the $700-800 ticket per ticket I just paid for a season opener. So that is coming up. They just released that date, but I don't know what the date is off the top of my head. Oh my God, I'm such a horrible fan. I just don't remember what the date is. But it's usually sometime in August. So I'm going to put this, these greens down. Oh, speaking of greens, is anyone watching House of the Dragon? We're on episode 3, just happened. And one more season after this. So they're going to try to get a lot in to the season. I'm seeing some people are, looks like a little bit disappointed in how, spoiler alert, Otto Hightower lost his life. But if you read the books, then you know that to be, you know, he does die in the books. So it's definitely going to be interesting. You would think that the writers would tend to be a little smarter the way the fans rip them apart with the way they ended Game of Thrones. Now, mind you, I had no problems with the way they ended Game of Thrones. No problem at all. I was a little bit irritated at first with the fact that, okay, so weren't you guys building up to Jon Snow killing the Night King? Wasn't that the plan? Because that's not what happened. However, in how they did it, by making it be Arya, I wasn't mad about it. I wasn't mad with I wasn't mad with Jamie Lannister's character arc, how he came 360, but ended up going right back because he was going to have to die with his sister because that's what he truly wanted. The only one I was disappointed in was, believe it or not, I thought Cersei didn't really get what she deserved. I think I would have liked to have seen her, the end of her story, a little bit more violent because of all the things that she did throughout the 8 seasons. I was not mad with Daenerys' character arc because at the end of the day, if y'all didn't think she was a crazy bitch, and she was constantly threatening to burn people in their cities. Come on now. What did you think she was going to do? Of course she was going to be like her father. Of course. Of course she was. Do I think she would have if she didn't have all those things happen to her? Like the death of Rhaegal, her dragon, the death of Missandei? No, I don't think it. I think it would have eventually happened to an extent, but it wouldn't have happened as quick. So I think all those things did play a factor, but I was not mad with how the season ended. I think I was a little confused as to why they did what they did with Brandon Stark, but whatever. It's fantasy. It is what it is. Deal with it, kids. Deal with it. Okay, so before I want to go on to this next color, I want to do another ghost story. It's hot. Ghost stories usually tend to go well in the autumn, in the fall. So turn your air conditioners all the way up. Put up your blackout curtains. Grab some apple cider or whatever fall drink you like. And let's get right into it. This one, where is it? It's on page 17. I'm going to try to do something a little bit different here. I'm going to try to read and diamond paint at the same time. Let's see how that plays out, shall we? It should be nice. Should be nice. Okay. Again, so these books are called Ghost in the Valley. They're from Addie Kent Thomas, Jeffrey. This is from when I was a little girl. These are books that my sister had. This was originally printed in 1971. This is the 7th printing, which was done in 1995. But they're all about ghosts in my area in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. So I always thought they were really cool and it was really fun, right? So the first one I did, it was about a building that I actually worked in. This one's a little bit, it'll be a good one. So I'm going to start it off first because it's only like one little paragraph right here and then it kind of flips to the next page. So this particular ghost story is called One Man Show, The Ghost of Joseph Pickett. So, many a renowned artist has lived in New Hope, Bucks County's famous art colony and summer theater resort. But none has done the quaint and colorful town more proud, as the saying goes, than Joseph Pickett, the great primitive artist whose immortal Manchester Valley hangs in the Museum of Modern Art in New York City. Pickett, in his day, the late years of the last century and the early years of this, was the village grocer and butcher. He lived and ran his shop in a little brick house off the canal on Mechanic Street. Some residents in the town still recall seeing his well-built figure hunched over some painting he was working on in between store hours. One of those paintings, few people realize, was drawn directly on the front brick of the wall of the building. There it still exists to this day under some 30 coats of paint unknown to the passerby. Okay, so now I'm turn the page, and now I think I can diamond paint. New Hope is a quaint little town. It is still very theater-esque. The Bucks County Playhouse is there. It is known as Ghost Haven. Every year my mom and I would take my mom and my aunt there, and we would do the ghost tour. Like there was 3 different tours you could do, walking tours. So we did a different one every year. And then I would take my aunt and my mom out for ice cream to Friendly's, and we'd have ice cream sundaes, and it would just be a great little girls' night. And it was just great memories I have with both my mom and my aunt. So that's why I kind of love New Hope so much. It's a great little town. Right along the river. It's a really fun place to visit. Okay. So also unknown to the average person idling by or even into the old house, the modest, big-handed, gray-haired Joseph still lives there. The structure today harbors 2 shops, the Cheshire Cat and Blackburn's Pasture. Now, I do not know if those 2 shops are still there. I have not been to New Hope in quite some time. Joseph Pickett died in 1918 if you consult the encyclopedia, but if you ask some of the many residents who have lived in the house since he was owner, you will learn quick enough that the unique Mr. Pickett still likes to hang around. Unrecognized in his lifetime, he most certainly is making up for lost acknowledgement in his afterlife. He seems to be bumping into or having good sport with scores of visitors in his old house. Take Michael Majovsky for first instance. Mike lived in the Pickett house in the mid-1940s. He still vividly recalls being disturbed almost nightly by the pounding of heavy feet up a flight of steps on the side of the house. The noise itself was nerve-wracking enough, but add to that the knowledge that the stairs no longer existed, and you've really got the shakes, says Mike. Yeah, that would be a little unsettling, right? Like, you know for a fact that there's no stairs there, so how are you hearing people come up the stairs? That's a little sus, right? In the late 1940s, the James Hoffmans moved in. In addition to James and his wife Betty, there were 2 children, a 3-year-old son and a baby girl. The incident occurred in that house too. Mrs. Hoffman said that she has never forgotten it to this day. Betty was working in an upstairs bedroom when she heard a sound of someone moving around in the master bedroom where the baby was asleep in a crib. Frightening. She stopped what she was doing thoughtfully. What could that noise be? There was no one home but herself and the 2 children, and her son, who was with her, ran into the other room and called out, "A man is in here, Mommy." Betty Hoffman dashed into the room, her breath tight in her throat. There, sitting on her bed, was a man. He wore dark trousers and a deep-toned shirt open at the neck. His hair was iron gray, and he had a very gray mustache. He said nothing but simply looked calmly up into Betty's eyes. She spun on her heels, reached for the baby, snatching her up quickly into her arms as she made a grab for her son almost simultaneously. But in that second instant, when she looked back at the bed, the man was gone. Right? Whew. I don't know. That'd be kind of creepy. Like if you have, I'm not even going to say that because, well, I guess if you move into a haunted house that you didn't know was haunted and this kind of stuff starts happening, yes, you'd be a little creeped out. But if you have never lived in a haunted house, or you've always lived in a haunted house, you know what I'm saying? So kind of like one thing you're used to and then other ones you're not. So that'd be kind of like, yeah, I can get where it'd be a little confusing or a little creepy. If not, it's just, whatever. She's, okay, let me see, where do I go? With tense fingers, she quickly put through a call to a neighbor. The friend hurried over, and together the 2 went through every single room. I know an intruder was in here. Where did he go? How could he have gotten in? Were all thoughts racing through Betty's mind. But nothing could be found, not a sign of a person or disturbance. Finally, the 2 women searched the outside of the property where deep snow had packed an unbroken white covering all around the approach to the house. There were no footsteps, but those of the neighbors. Eventually, it dawned on me, says Betty Hoffman today, I had seen Joseph Pickett. Not many years after the Hoffmans moved away, I spoke to the house's newest residents. Everything happens here, one of them told me. At night, we hear padded footfalls in the front room upstairs or shutters banging even when there isn't a breeze stirring. Other times, we felt cool air flow past us like there isn't air. We felt cool air flow past us like air stirring from someone's passing. We found writing in chalk on the walls. Nothing that makes sense, just a hodgepodge of letters. Take it to the hodgepodge. On other occasions, we've heard loud knocking on the back door, always in the middle of the night, of course. Why wouldn't it be at any other time? When I go down and open it, no one is ever there. The other residents nodded her head and added, then there are the times I go down into the cellar for some canned goods or jarred foods. Many times a bottle of ketchup or a jar of cherries or olives will come flying directly at me off the shelf before I'm near enough to touch anything. We've also noticed the door to the artist's bedroom will not stay open. No matter how many times we open it, before too long it has passed, we'll hear a loud bang as it slams shut. Joseph simply wants to keep his door closed. 'Cause it ain't nobody's business what he be up there doing. My God, come on, follow along, kids. Follow along. Ghosts have rights too, right? Apparently, Joseph still wants to do a lot of things. The present owners of the house, Howard and Linda Ubley, who run the restaurant number 8 across from the Pickett House on Mechanic Street, can tell you they've heard many things from the shopkeepers there. I myself, meaning the author of the story, have found this to be true as well. The last 2 proprietors I spoke to on the canal side have heard footsteps on the inside stairs of the place when no one but themselves were present. And as for the owner of the Cheshire Cat and his assistant, well, the stories of Joseph's mischiefs are manifold. For example, Thomas Lynch will tell you he leaves a bowl on a shelf in one room and finds it gone a few hours later. Then it will reappear the next day. In similar exasperating fashion, other items in his shop move about or change places or vanish completely. On another occasion, he came in one morning to find the mortar between the old bricks of one inside wall fallen all over the floor on that side of the store, as though someone had scraped loose the cement dust deliberately with his fingernails. Oh, no. We're not doing that. My nails cost too much money. It was a near endless job to clean up the particles as well as get the gift items free of the gray-white coating. One day, both Mr. Lynch and his assistant can tell you a woman came into the shop to look around. When she got into the back room, close to the area where the old stairs and entrance door had existed in Pickett's day, she felt a frightening, icy feeling come over her. She fought off a shudder and went on around the store. As soon as she returned to that spot again, she felt a terrible sense of horror and revulsion. Someone or something doesn't want me back there, she told the shopkeepers and hurried out. She's never been back. Mr. Blackburn next door can tell you also of hearing footsteps on the stairs and bangings on the door. Recently, I spoke with a woman who had resided in the Pickett house in the early 1960s. Had she experienced anything untoward there? Her answer was to the point. Why, that old so-and-so used to lock the bathroom door on me from the inside so I couldn't get in. He'd push over the slip-lock bolt, and the only way I could ever get to open it was to send for the police. With such a wealth of mischief filling the old house by the canal, it's a wonder the historic Manchester Valley stays in place on the walls of the Museum of Modern Art in New York City. Maybe it doesn't. I'll have to ask about that someday. And that, my friends, is the story of the ghost of Mr. Pickett in New Hope, Bucks County, Pennsylvania. I think I was in the Cheshire Cat when I was taking my mom and my aunt up there. Ghost tours are awesome. They're fun. And you always, you have to be able to let your mind go so you can be scared, or then it just kind of defeats the purpose, right? So what I was trying to say earlier is if you've never lived in a haunted house, you've never experienced these things. So when they do happen, they are scary and can be frightening, right? But when you've lived in a haunted house all of your life, these things that's just a part of life, right? They're just a part of life. I've said to my friends many times how my workstation is, because I work from home. So if this is where my desk is, right, there's a doorway here to a couple of bedrooms, and then there's a doorway here into my kitchen, my bathroom, and my laundry room. So my desk is right here. So I can literally turn my head to the right and I can see into my kitchen. But all I see is the cellar door, but I can see there. At the time, that was the perfect place for my desk because I was the caregiver to my elderly mom. So it made it easier for me when my mom, was getting up to go to the bathroom, because I only have one bathroom in the house on the first floor. I could see her, going to the bathroom, and I could hear her if she needed help. But right off of that doorway, because when you walk through that doorway, to the left is the bathroom, straight ahead is the cellar door, and between the bathroom and the cellar door is another doorway. And that's my laundry room, and that's where my grandmother, on my dad's side, my paternal grandmother, that was her bedroom, because she lived with us when I was a little girl. And she actually passed away in that room on a Thursday night. I'll never forget it. I was about 5. I remember it very specifically because my grandma would read to me every night. She would go to bed, and I would climb in there and climb on her bed, and she would tell me a story. And then I would leave the room, and she would go to sleep, and then I would get ready for bed. This particular night, nothing weird happened. My dad was working on one of his, my dad owned his own business. He had a full-time job, but he also had his own business where he repaired fire trucks. So he was out on a call fixing a fire truck. So I guess when he came home and he went in to check on his mom, she had passed. So back then, my mom, they called the doctor. The doctor came to the house. They brought donuts. They sat up all night, drinking donuts and coffee, eating donuts and drinking coffee. And I remember waking up as a little girl and coming downstairs. I remember seeing Dr. Goldman sitting there, and I didn't understand why. But everything was cool because, he gave me a donut and I went about my business. So to this day, I'll be working and I'll see shadow out of the corner of my eye, going in and out of that room. My mom spent a lot of time in there as well. My mother had a fixation with laundry, so could be her. I don't know. But just the other night, I was asleep, and when I go to bed, I don't lay on all the way up at the head of my bed, like I'm down a little bit so my feet hang off the bottom. I know for a fact that I was woken from a sound sleep with someone smacking the bottom of my foot. I don't know what that was. I don't know who that was. I grabbed my phone and shined the light down there, and there was nothing there. In most cases, people would be like, oh my God, they'd be freaked out, getting up out of bed. No. Oh, there's nothing there? Cool. Turned my light off, turned over, went back to sleep. Because I'm used to those things. They happen here all the time. So I guess that's what I'm getting at. If you're used to these things happening, you don't pay them no mind. You just don't. You just go about your business. But I hope you guys enjoyed that ghost story. A little bit of fun on this hot, disgusting July 2nd, 2026. And I think when I'm done this section, I think I'm going to kit up my Queen of the Owl from Ricari, just for something different. So, well, guys, that's all I got for today. I'm going to finish this section and just go about the rest of my day and chill. So I will catch you on the next one. So thank you for listening. Leave a like, thumbs up, If you like that ghost story, or you live in a haunted house and you have a story to tell, drop me a comment. I'd love to hear it. I'd love to hear it. Yeah, I'd love to hear it. That being said, remember, Roaring Dinosaur means I love you, and I appreciate each and every one of you guys, and I will talk to you on the next one. Bye.